Okay, let's be honest. The wellness world can feel, well, a little chaotic, right? It's like one day everyone's telling you to do one thing, and the next day it's something completely different. So how in the world do you figure out what's real and what's just really good marketing? Well, that's exactly what we're going to tackle. We're going to give you a way to cut through all that noise.
I mean, you know the ones I'm talking about. You can't scroll through your phone for 5 minutes without seeing somebody talking about them. They all promise to completely change your life, one icy plunge or one weird glowing light at a time. And honestly, it can be a lot to keep up with.
And look, it's totally normal to be a little skeptical. I think we've all fallen for a fad or two that promised everything and, well, didn't deliver much. So you gotta wonder, is this new wave of trends any different? Is it just more of the same internet hype?
But what if it's not? What if something is actually fundamentally changing here? Because it seems like the trends that are really sticking around aren't just based on empty promises. They're actually rooted in real, measurable changes in your body, stuff you can actually see and feel.
All right, so how do we tell the difference? How do we spot the real deal? Turns out, there's a pretty simple framework we can use to test pretty much any wellness trend that comes across our feed.
So the trends that really work, the ones with staying power, they all tend to share three big things. First up, clear physiological pathways. That's just a fancy way of saying there's actual science that explains why and how it works. Next, they have to have consistent results in studies. We're talking real data, not just a few feel-good stories. And finally, they have to be easy to integrate. I mean, if you can't realistically fit it into your daily life, it's not going to stick, right? That's the test.
Okay, so let's put this framework into action. We're going to use a perfect real-world example, the infrared sauna. It's a fantastic case study because, spoiler alert, it really checks all three of those boxes. So first things first, what even is an infrared sauna? Well, unlike your old-school traditional sauna that just cranks up the heat in the air, an infrared one uses these special panels, and they heat your body directly. The cool part is, this means you get all the benefits at temperatures that are way, way more comfortable. And people who use them say the feeling is pretty incredible. I love this quote from one of our sources. It feels like clearing a browser cache, but for my brain. That just perfectly nails that feeling of a total mental reset, doesn't it? It's more than just feeling warm. But how does it actually do that? And this is where we get to that first big test, the clear science behind it. Let's dig into how this kind of heat actually affects your body. Okay, so here's the key difference. A traditional sauna is kind of like an oven, right? It heats the air, which then heats you from the outside. But an infrared sauna, that's more like the gentle warmth of the sun. The infrared light actually penetrates deep into your tissues. We're talking 3 to 5 centimeters deep, and it heats you up from the inside out. And that deep penetration, that's the secret sauce.
Which brings us to our second point, consistent results. And the data here is pretty amazing. Just look at this number. A 2023 study looked at people with fibromyalgia, which is a really tough chronic pain condition, and found that infrared sauna use cut their pain scores by almost 31%. That isn't just a little bit better, that is a huge, clinically meaningful difference.
And it's not just about pain. The evidence just keeps piling up. Other studies show it can help lower blood pressure, it can seriously reduce that after-the-gym muscle soreness, and it even improves your circulation. It does that by boosting something called nitric oxide, which basically helps your blood vessels relax and open up. So again, these are real, consistent, and measurable results.
You know, when you have this much solid science backing something up, it's not just doctors who notice. The market notices too. And that's exactly why infrared saunas have exploded into a huge business. And that demand is really changing the game for the whole wellness industry.
$399 million. I mean, let that sink in. That's what the US market for these saunas is expected to be worth by 2032. We are way past this being some niche little trend. This is a serious economic player in the wellness space.
So what's causing this massive boom? Well, it's really a perfect storm of factors. People generally have more income to spend on their health. We're all becoming more health conscious. And this is a big one. We want wellness stuff we can do at home. That's our third trait, right? Easy integration. On top of all that, the word is just getting out about the science-backed benefits we just talked about.
And you can literally watch the industry growing up in real time. I mean, just look at the timeline. In 2020, smart saunas with all this cool tech were a huge deal. Then a couple years later, companies figured out how to make smaller ones for apartments. Then the focus shifted to eco-friendly materials.
And now we're seeing big companies buying up smaller ones. These are all the telltale signs of a market that's not just growing, but maturing.
Okay, but with anything this powerful, we have to hit the pause button and ask a really important question. Is this thing actually safe for everybody? Because it's crucial to look at the full picture.
And the short answer is nope, it's not for everyone. For example, if you're pregnant, it's a no-go because of potential risks. Same thing if you have a serious heart condition or really low blood pressure. The changes it causes could be dangerous. And if you have any condition that makes it hard for you to sense heat properly, you could risk getting burned without realizing it.
So here's the golden rule, and this part is absolutely non-negotiable. If you have any kind of pre-existing medical condition, you have to talk to your doctor first, period. Your safety is always, always number one.
All right, so we've taken a really deep dive on the science, the business, and the safety of infrared saunas. But let's zoom out for a second. What's the real big picture takeaway from all of this?
Because the most important thing to get from all this is that the real trend, it isn't the sauna, it's not the cold plunge, it's not the breath work, it's not any one single thing.
The real trend is our demand for proof. That's the huge shift. We're moving out of that era of just trust us, it works, wellness. We're now in a time where we want to see the proof, we want to see the studies, we want to understand the science, and we want to know that the things we're spending our hard-earned time and money on are actually legit.
And that mindset, that's the real game changer. That's the wellness trend that matters. It's a tool you can now use for everything, whether it's a new supplement, a fitness plan, or a diet. So I'll just leave you with this question. What's the next thing you're going to demand proof of?